with Marsha. She, her, Marsha. Marsha, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello.
Hey, Marsha.
So you're calling on the abortion topic as well, and you want to clear up some misinformation that people use to justify a pro-life stance.
Yeah, I missed a chunk of the conversation because I was immediately called in because I was triggered by the very first comment the previous caller made about abortions late in the term. And honestly, like, they do happen. And the reason they happen is that something's gone horribly wrong. People don't get pregnant and then go into labor and say, oops, I changed my mind and I don't want this baby anymore. Let's have an abortion. That is not a thing at all. Like, it's usually a pretty dire emergency when that happens. And so if you take that away, if you make that illegal, you put women and infants, fetuses, all at risk. You destroy families and you destroy lives that way. And honestly, I also don't think, like, it's not a doctor's decision most of the time either. The person in charge of the of the body that is carrying the child, it's their body and their life that's at stake. And it just is so ghoulish, in my opinion, to say, well, this needs to be mediated through a doctor. Like, why? Why does the doctor have a say in it?
I think sometimes it's important to have the doctor's input, especially.
Hello?
Hi, Marsha, are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
The audio cut
Yeah,
out.
sorry, that was me. I was muted. Sorry, rookie mistake. I think it's important to. I'm going to get a right slap on the hand for that after the show. I think it's important sometimes to involve the doctor, and because I've been in the position before where I've been in hospital and I've thought that something might be good for me, and the doctor's professional opinion, and rightly so, has overridden my stance on the subject. So I kind of agree with you for the most part, but I do think every time there's kind of a medical situation going off, we can't just kind of overrule the doctor based on our opinion of the subject out of hand. I think it has to be informed. I think, in a medical emergency especially, which is kind of what you were talking about, the doctor's opinion is kind of vitally important regardless of our own wishes. But I'm on the same page with you in general. I did want to ask you, because you were talking about kind of late term stuff, what is your opinion on abortion overall?
Overall, I don't think there is any reason to restrict it. And mostly for that reason, that, like, honestly, the majority of abortions take place between 6 and 10 weeks. And, like, I guess sometimes it's framed as, like, this situation where a doctor needs to be involved in that decision. And, like, they need to be involved in, facilitating the abortion. But the decision is the woman's.
Well, yeah, and nobody's saying that decision should be taken away from the woman, but it should be made with the advice of a medical professional, right? Especially if the medical professional is performing it. These things need to be guided along, and I think it's just a smart practice because we want to ensure the health and welfare of the woman who is pregnant.
Sure.
And kind of the point I was making earlier when we got a little off topic is that we know that there are people out there that understand the concept of bodily autonomy because they apply it in other areas. But when it comes to abortion, for some reason, we are taking that assistance away from the doctors, tying their hands. And these people who we know understand the concept of bodily autonomy are the politicians that are restricting a woman from making these decisions. And so it's a very backwards concept. It doesn't logically follow. And it really doesn't logically follow from the standpoint of religion. When people cite religion and Christianity as the source for their pro-life stance, they clearly haven't read the Bible and seen what happens to children in the Bible in general. So it's just a conversation that kind of needs to be, I guess, made more available to people who haven't really been as well informed as they could be. But like I said earlier, we're not in a position right now, unfortunately, where we can start discussing the nuances of how and when a doctor can assist, because the politicians have really taken that responsibility away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marsha. Go on.
It's upsetting because I just don't think politicians should have their hand in this at all. And anyway, I'm sorry.
You got to vote. You got to stay informed. Yeah.
Agitate. Serious science.
Yeah. Marsha, I really, really appreciate your input. I think it's, as I said during the last call, neither me nor Jimmy are medical professionals or are likely to become pregnant. So it's great to have that other kind of voice in here, giving us that other side of it. And I, for one, very, very much appreciate your call and you kind of giving your voice to this conversation.
Thank you. Can I say one more thing too? Another kind of misconception that's been out there on the pro-life side about how traumatic supposedly abortions are. I've had an abortion in my younger days, and medical abortions didn't exist then. It was not painful. It was not traumatic. The recovery was easy, and the main thing I felt was relief. And I think that is most women's experience with it. We're not stupid. We're not ignorant. We know what we need for our lives. And, someone trying to tell you, oh, you'll be just so traumatized and so in pain, those are lies. They're outright lies.
Yeah, I think the thing is that these people who are so anti-abortion in every respect, they're not bothered that they're telling lies. They've no experience of it. They don't know what it's like. They're not going on facts and figures. They're going on purely emotional arguments, often informed by their religious beliefs, and that is kind of overriding everything else that is factual in any way. And unfortunately, this is how a lot of these people kind of argue and push forward opinion. It's done based on emotion, and it is sad when they've not actually been in the position when they're telling other people, especially when the men and they're telling other people that if you have an abortion, you will feel this and you will feel this regret and you will feel that and all these other things. Keep your fucking nose out, sir. It's none of your business. When you're able to have a baby, then you have a right to kind of jump in and start telling, or at least having a conversation with other people about what it might be like. But until you're ever going to be in that position, then just turn away from it and let people do what they need to do. I think is kind of my opinion on it. Marsha, do you want to have the kind of last word before we let you go?
I don't know if I think I said everything I can think of off the top of my head. I kind of called on a hair trigger.
No, it's cool. Thank you very much. I will let you go. Thank you very much for your call. Like I said, I think having that other voice is really, really, really important. Jimmy, I'm sure you appreciate that voice being in the conversation as well.
I do. And you know what, Richard, I kind of wanted to posit just one more thing too on that. So I think that a misconception that might be not all that clear is that people paint abortion as if it's maybe some really easy decision, but there's a lot of weight on people that have to go through that. And I've never been in that situation. My wife and we did lose a pregnancy, and it was awful, absolutely awful. And I wish more people could kind of be sympathetic, to or empathetic to those that have to make a decision like that.
Yeah. And and I've been in the same position. Me and my wife lost our what would have been our second child as well. So, but that's not abortion, and that's the thing. We need to kind of make that distinction as well. That although this can be something which can be traumatic for the person who has made the mind up and is going through it. It's not necessarily the case that they're going to be traumatized by it. And that's kind of the point I was trying to push.